Hello everyone, this is Vivo Mystery Cases. Today we are sharing with you another bizarre Japanese case that quickly vanished in the news of old Japan. This case is also one of the three major pending cases in Japan. The incident happened in 1977. Beginning of January at Shinagawa Station in Tokyo, Japan. It was about 12 o'clock in the middle of the night. A group of young people worked at Shinagawa Station. After finishing work, they walked together after work, returned to their dorms, and chatted while walking. A girl picked up a 10 yen coin next to the roadside telephone booth. When trying to tell her partner to pick up the money next to the 10 yen coin, he found a bottle of unopened cola. He then asked all his friends to gather around and say today he was lucky to pick up a money and a drink. He asked the girls to put the 10 yen coin into his pocket, then put the bottle of Coke and handed around the minimum age of a little boy. He is about 16 years old. His name is Higashiaki. She told Higashiaki, "I don't like carbonated drinks. We take this cola for you to drink." But the girl who picked up the Coke did not expect that she was such a kind act that Higashiaki lost her life. After everyone arrived at the dormitory in the early morning, the young people had some snacks, and after a few days of chatting, they began to prepare to go back to their beds to sleep. At this time, Higashiaki remembered the bottle of Coke. Anyway, he thought he was like a little thirsty to drink a bottle of Coke. The result, he just threw up, surrounded by friends, asking what happened. It quickly went to Higashiaki's side mouth edge, and next of the students said that the bottle of Coke was not actually a real Coke and that it was hard to finish. Before he finished speaking, Higashiaki fell to the ground. After seeing it, the student and friends in the dorm quickly called the police and sent Higashiaki to the hospital for emergency treatment. While on the way to the hospital, Higashiaki was still convulsing. He had lost all his vital signs just after arriving at the hospital. This all came too fast, and all the doctors were dumbfounded. At that time, the doctor in charge of rescue felt these things have been really awkward because Higashiaki seems to be poisoned. The doctor quickly called the police. When the police arrived, they took away Higashiaki's body and performed an autopsy immediately. The results of the autopsy showed that there was no obvious trauma on the body, but there were a lot of pink spots on the body. So the forensic doctor thought it might be cyanide poisoning. What is cyanide? Cyanide is actually a chemical pigment mainly used in metallurgy and electroplating. Depending on the dose taken, it may first cause nausea, vomiting, breathing difficulties, and finally death due to respiratory failure. A very small amount of cyanide can kill a person's life. According to some friends with the same name in the dormitory, they said that all of them had the same food on that day. The only difference was the bottle of cola that the member had drunk, so he quickly retrieved the half of the bottle of cola from the dormitory. The results showed that the Coke bottle contained cyanide. Then at this time, the police received another alarm call and found a man near the Shinagawa station collapsed on the ground. After the pedestrian on the road quickly called the police, the man was also preaching on the way to the hospital. After arriving at the hospital and tragically passing away, the police wanted to find a lot of pink spots on the man's body, and there were also cyanide resides in his stomach. The most weird thing is that in the place where the man fainted, half of the bottles of cola that were not drunk were also placed next to it, and it was found that the position where the man fainted was less than 600 meters away from the pond bottle they picked up after drinking Coke, and the location of the two cases is very close. The police quickly came to a conclusion that there may be a connection between the two cases. Victims of such serial cases generally have some common characteristics, so the police already know the identity of the first victim A. Who is the second victim? Because the second victim had no information about his identity and no family members to claim him, so the police started with the remaining half of the bottle of Coke, which did have his fingerprint on it. But because at that time, not all people in Japan had fingerprints, only some people who committed crimes. Tenants with a criminal record will put their fingerprint in the database. The police took a try attitude and entered the fingerprint of this person into the police crime system, and the result really matched. The victim is actually a fugitive named Sugawara. He had a marriage history at the age of 46. When he divorced his ex-wife at the age of 30, he has always been an unemployed wanderer and then printed a large number of fake business cards, which is the money to cheat passers-by on the streets of Tokyo. Although the amount of money is not too large every time, it is also a crime because the frequency of crime is too high. It seems that Jane Sugawara and Higashiyaki have no particularly big common points and connections between them, and the case is a bit stagnant. At the same time, the Japanese media also began to report a large amount of this incident and also warned the public not to drink some coke found on the road. However, just after the media report, the police received another report call. This report call came from a grocery store owner near the Battle of Shinagawa. The location of this grocery store and Higashiyaki, who picked up the bottle of cola, is not far from the public phone booth. The owner of the grocery store said he didn't know who put a bottle of Coke in front of their shop a few days ago. It was very suspicious. And then the police quickly returned the bottle of Coke. After the test, it was also found that this bottle of cola also contained cyanide. Just a few days later, the police picked up half of a bottle of Coke in another phone booth at Shinagawa Station. This cola also contains cyanide, which means that so far, the police has reduced to 4 bottles of Coke. The first bottle of Coke is Higashiyaki's. The second bottle of Coke is Sugawara. The third bottle of Coke is the grocery store owner. And the fourth bottle is picked up in another phone booth, and that is a leftover. The next 3 bottles of cola, the first 3 bottles of Coke probably already know what is going on. The fourth bottle of Coke drinks the remaining Coke. This Coke bottle has fingerprints on it, but the police have not received any victims so far. Phone, will the fingerprint on the fourth bottle of Coke be the fingerprint of the perpetrator? The police also tried to enter this fingerprint into the police fingerprint database, but there was no matching information. The police said inexplicably that the police received a phone call from a young man who said he drank the fourth bottle of Coke. That was the case. On January 3, 1977, before and after the time they picked up the Coke case, the young man took the train to Shinagawa Station. Just arrived after the Shinagawa Station, he wanted to make a phone call to his family through a public phone booth. Then, when he first entered the phone booth, he found a bottle of a new Coke that didn't seem to be open. He picked up the phone. Holding the phone in one hand, the Coke was turned on in one hand, and the gas sprayed out saw his fingers. He subconsciously licked his fingers with his tongue while calling and found that Coke was as if it was bitter. He threw away the remaining half of the bottle, and as a result, the young man will feel very dizzy and sick after returning home that night. But it may be because the measurement is very small and the symptoms will soon disappear. The police later checked the person's fingerprint, which indeed matched the fingerprint on the fourth bottle of Coke, and also checked the person's ticket on the day of the Battle of Shinagawa, which also proved that everything the person described was true, so the suspicion was lifted. What should we do if the matter seems to be broken by this point? Actually, not yet. Did you find that these bottles of Coke were found near Shinagawa Station? Then you can start an investigation near Pingchuan Station. The police went to many residents near Rikawa Station and wanted to know something, a clue. After the investigation, the police came to a conclusion that caused them to sweat directly. According to the residents near the Kagawa Station, the time when the mysterious cola appeared was actually 2 months ago, in November 1976. These strange Coke began to appear on the road, and according to some residents who often go out to work at a fixed time, or buy food or practice in the morning, the location of these cola will change every few days, and from 1976 to 1977. In January of these 2 months, it was said that no one was poisoned in the first 2 months. It was only in January 1977 that someone was poisoned. Before combining with the police, the contents of the chemical compounds that emerged from the 4 bottles of cola were all different. The police came to a conclusion that the perpetrator may be doing an experiment. He wanted to know where to put the coke to be easily taken away by the type and what dose of the cyanide component was the easiest to reach what he wanted. The result is quite terrible. Fortunately, we don't know if it's because the news has been reported and people's awareness of alertness has become very high. No new cases have appeared in the next 10 days and no one has been poisoned. Until the day before Valentine's Day on February 13, 1977, the new case appeared in Osaka, hundreds of kilometers away. There was an employee of a logistics company called Morisaki in Osaka. He returned after purchasing raw materials on this day. The company, as soon as he entered the company door, took out a pack of cigarettes and a bottle of coke from his pocket. He was particularly proud to show off to his colleagues that when he bought cigarettes in a vending machine on the road that day, he picked up a side bottle of cola. Colleagues around here listened to him, and at the sight of this coke bottle, they quickly said to him, "Don't drink it. Didn't you hear the news that the coke pickup on the road is not safe?" Morisaki didn't listen to his colleague's advice and he said, "I'll take a sip." As a result, he opened the coke bottle and slammed it down. As soon as he finished drinking, he fell to the ground and told his colleagues that his stomach and headaches were gone as soon as possible. He said to send him to the hospital for emergency treatment. On the way to the hospital, Morisaki told his colleagues that there was a bottle of coke next to the vending machine he picked up. Colleagues immediately called the police. After the police, they put the automatic next to the machine, and the rest of the bottle of coke was brought back for testing. It was found that there was indeed cyanide in it, but C said that the coke was not known by Morisaki. Where did it go? So the police did not find the bottle of coke. Fortunately, it was probably because Morisaki was taken to the hospital in time, and he came to the rescue. The police wanted to question Morisaki Lima that day, but when he saw that he had just been rescued, he said that he would wait for a few days for him to recover, and then ask him to question him. Just 2 days later, on the day the police agreed to the question, bad news came from Morisaki's house. Morisaki's wife asked him to end his life at home. Later, there were many disputes about Morisaki's death and Morisaki's wife. The argument is that Morisaki felt that his colleague had persuaded him not to drink the bottle of coke, but he did not listen to the persuasion and drank it. He felt very ashamed, so he committed suicide. But I don't think it's a big deal. It should not be ashamed to die. Others said that when Morisaki was actually sent to the emergency room that day, he was not carried in, but several colleagues walked in with him. If he drank a whole bottle of poisonous coke, he should not be able to walk into the emergency room by himself, and everyone noticed that there is no detail. That is, the bottle of Morisaki's coke was not found, so the police later suspected whether the upgrade was poisoned, and some people even suspected that Angry might be the murderer. He committed suicide, but these are some speculations from everyone. The police did not find any evidence of body poisoning. When the matter progresses here, there will definitely be an audience who will say that the key to this case is coke, and it will be much easier to start investigating from coke. But the Coke company produces so many bottles of coke in Japan every day. These are thousands of wholesalers in the Tokyo area alone, where should 10,000 retailers check, and the most important thing is that everyone thinks coke is the only crime. When it came to tools, a very strange thing happened at Tokyo Station on February 14, 1977. At Tokyo Station, a person picked up a large box of chocolates. That is, 40 boxes of Izaki Glico almond chocolate. But the person who picked up the chocolate was very good. He hurriedly handed it over to the police, and the police would post a notice to let the owner claim this box of chocolates. But because no one had claimed it after more than 10 days, the police returned the box of chocolates to the Izaki Glico factory. After receiving the box of chocolates, the Izaki Glico factory opened the box and checked it. They felt that the check was wrong because every box had a sign of being opened. hurried to send the test, the test results show that each box of chocolate contains cyanide ingredients, and the inside of one box of chocolate is also printed with the sentence, "I want to use the sky to exterminate the arrogant Japanese." The same incident of cyanide and chocolate has never been cracked, and no murderer has been found. In 1992, the case reached the prosecution time limit. The perpetrators were still not found, but I don't know if this was because of this Coke incident. Now, all countries in the world no longer popular that kind of last battle Coke. Now, the more popular ones are cans or plastic bottles. Once this cola is opened, it is difficult to restore it to its original state, which is also a crime prevention progress. So this case also tells us a reason that don't eat anything you pick up on the road. If you find something, you must give it to the police. God does not give a person a benefit for nothing. One should not have illusions about others, and any value of one should be exchanged from one's own efforts, even if there is something with good value by chance without any effort. These may also be fleeting because labor does not match the value obtained. People who rely on donations every day will not be creative. The same is true for your job, always thinking that the company can increase the salary of employees and do a little more work. It will say this new job, but think about whether your real working hours really make sense every day. 8 hours a day. Are you really working for these 8 hours? Have you ever thought about working like this? Your company can only lay off staff to reduce its own costs, or the company directly closes down. What benefit does it have for you? Is it really easier to find a job at this time than before there was no epidemic? Try to think about how hard you can create value every day. If you create value, the leaders of your company are not fooled. Can they not see it? They will give you what you want, because that time is when the company doesn't want you to go. Let's imagine again, if a capability of your missing is being gradually mastered by your boss, or even when your boss uses this capability to do better than you, what is your value? Then your departure is one step closer. What do you think about the mysterious Coke murder incident that shocked the whole Japan? Leave your comments and thoughts down below and we'll discuss it with you. If you like our videos, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We'll see you next time!